Hello, and welcome to Interviews with Introverts. Today, joining me from Providence is my pal, John Faraone. John is a lovely songwriter whose work is both delicate and contemplative. He's also a multi-talented instrumentalist who's graciously played drums for Mountainess, most recently on the new track Attention. Hello, John Faraone.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome to the show where I torture my fellow introverts by asking them questions. So, my first question is, how do you balance being an introvert and a performer?
Yeah, that's a great question. I see performing as like a sort of an escape, and it's sort of the same thing with writing too. Writing songs to me is like you get to make up a reality that's different than the one that you have, or you can replay scenes from your life and make adjustments to them and make them better. And performing is pretty similar. I try to take on a different persona when I perform. I'm a little more outgoing. I try to make jokes. And I think it's kind of like a defense mechanism to make myself feel more comfortable. It's a very weird thing. Like the entire day of a performance, I'm usually like pacing around my house and feeling ill and questioning why on earth I would ever consider doing this. And then I get on stage and it's awesome. I grew up around music. I've been like a music fan my whole life. And performing to me is like getting to play a part, kind of.
So, what is your feeling after the performance?
Um, well, along with the introvert part of my personality, the other part of my personality is like a self-loathing narcissism. um, like I'm gonna write a song, I'm gonna go sing it in front of people, and then I'm like, I hate it. Why did I do that? I'm so bad at that. So there's a lot of conversations in my head that are critical of the things that I do and the choices that I've made. But as I've done it more often, I've gotten more comfortable with it, and I don't beat myself up as much. I mean, I still do, but it's gotten easier to deal with.
Hmm. So, do you miss performing?
I do. I kind of feel like towards the end it was getting a bit stale because I was playing the same songs in the same places, and I love all those places, but I don't feel like I was contributing anything new. I mean, I haven't played any new songs in a while. I feel like that wouldn't be such a problem if they were the hits and people were like, "Yeah, play that song." But I don't really get requests.
You hear that, folks? John Faraone open to requests of his original material. I think it's interesting, this idea of escaping into introversion, escaping into songwriting, maybe digging so deep that you hit a vein of extroversion.
Yeah, one of the things that comes up a lot when I talk to people after a show is that I never have my eyes open when I'm singing. My eyes are like 100% of the time closed when I'm singing. And I guess people don't really like that. I've just never been able to do it. There's a few reasons why, I think. Number one, clubs tend to be pretty loud. The clubs and bars that I play tend to be pretty loud, and I'm just really trying to hear myself sing. Um, and the other reason is basically that I'm terrified the entire time. um, and if I notice anybody looking at me, it will totally throw me off, and I'll forget words, and it'll it'll be a mess.
I think there's a lot of space for different kinds of performances. I took a class at one point where the underlying idea was that you had to keep your eyes open to connect to the audience, but there's a lot of ways to connect. And if you're singing something deeply personal or a song of introversion, you might not want to have your eyes open. Also, I've seen you perform, and you certainly open your eyes when you talk to the audience between songs. It would be strange if you didn't or kept your eyes closed while you walked onto the stage.
Yeah, I mean, it helps me get into the mood of the song. Delivery is really important to me. I don't consider myself to be like a great singer, but part of my whole shtick is that I write what I think are pretty personal songs that I try to deliver in like a conversational kind of way, like a way that people can relate. to the subject, and closing my eyes helps me get into that kind of space. But I've always marveled at people who sing with their eyes open, like you. Like it sounds like you're not even trying, and your eyes are wide open.
Yeah, sometimes I have to pry them open Clockwork Orange style. But yeah, it's weird to get up on stage and be singing about things that are personal, ideas that you've worked on in solitude, and then share them so openly.
Totally,
But
totally,
yeah, now is also a particularly strange time because we're doing Zoom performances, and uh, it's bizarre to be singing. And if you do have your eyes open, you're often just looking at yourself on the screen. So, how about you? Have you been doing any online performances?
Yeah, I did a few. Some friends were putting together like what would be the equivalent of an online festival type thing. And I don't know. I mean, the technology for me just doesn't seem to be there. I mean, maybe it's just a problem on my part, but like there's always a delay or my hands moving weird and like it's frozen or the audio is all garbled up. I did one by myself. Like I rented a camera and set up a bunch of microphones and stuff. And after all that effort, it just didn't really seem worth it. Like to me, making videos and then posting them to like a YouTube or Facebook or whatever, if you're making a video like that, you can play it through 1,000 times. If anything fails, you can redo it. With a live stream, um, there's the fear of live performing compounded with the fear of like, what if something goes wrong and shuts off, and I'm just playing silently with my eyes closed to nobody.
I guess I'm curious, since I know you in both capacities, did you start out as a drummer?
Yeah, I got my first drum set when I was a kid, like 5 or 6 years old or something,
Wow.
which was like totally the worst move on my parents' part. But I was like, yes. Um, and I've been playing drums ever since. I didn't really start playing guitar until after high school.
Do you find that with someone else you feel more relaxed playing on stage?
Oh yeah, like playing drums is so much better for me as a performer. I'm much more comfortable. I can like hide behind the cymbals.
Aw.
I'm backing up the person that everyone's staring at, so it's much more comfortable for me.
Yeah, in my minimal experience as a bass player, I've really enjoyed stepping back and getting to watch whoever's kind of center stage and not be that person. So we're both living through this time right now that could potentially be very fruitful for an introvert. A lot of possible alone time, self reflection. I don't think that's been my truth or experience. I'm curious if it's been yours. What have you been up to?
Um, well, I've spent a really long time getting ready to do stuff. I like planning, for doing things. But the writing that I do when I plan to write, like always just comes out terrible. Every song I've ever written that I like has been like from a voice memo thing or like a note that I wrote down quickly and like tucked away for later. So quarantine has been for me trying to figure out new ways to be more serious about it and more timely, like planning on doing those kinds of things. So basically, I've just been playing a lot of guitar, which is cool and fun, um, but that's basically it. What have you been doing to stay creative?
Right now, I am trying to get up in the morning and write, and also to stay in a healthy relationship with my creativity, not entangle it so much with the word work that I start to feel resentful towards it. And speaking of writing and creativity, you were a big part of my song Attention. You're actually part of its inception and
I
arrangement.
was.
What was that experience like? So, like, what was it like to work with me?
Man, it was a blast. It was interesting to get insight into somebody else's creative process. I mean, that song went through a lot of iterations. Like we started in one place, and there were maybe 4 or 5 different versions of the song that I can remember that were all very different. It was really interesting to see the wheels turning in your head and figure out what you wanted. So do you think the final product is what you had in mind, like originally?
Yes, and no. The drums are everything I was hoping for and kind of beyond what I imagined. I think other parts of the song continue to kind of surprise me because I feel like my vision for it was very based on what I played on the keyboard. And Anthony Savino, who played guitar and bass on the song and also helped arrange it, had a pretty clear vision from the get go. And we took it to Brad, and he was like, "What is this?" So uh, it's cool to see how it evolved, and it's just so rewarding to collaborate with good people.
Definitely. I had a great time working with you and Anthony.
Aw,
I think
samesies.
we had a really great um, open creative process, and working at Big Nice, like Brad is a genius and the place is just very welcoming, and I think we solved a lot of problems that we had that day that I was there, which is just a testament to how great that place is to work in.
So true. Well, thank you so much for being a part of it, and thank you for doing this interview.
Definitely. Thank you for letting me be a part of it. It was an honor and a privilege. Thanks so much for having me. This was really fun. I'm glad that my introversion didn't get in the way of it.
Hell yeah. If you want to hear more from John Faraone, you can visit him at johnfaraone.com and check out his beautiful music so you can go to his shows and request his original songs. Thanks for listening.